hopefully everyone can see my screen. Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So this is the Canvas site. Starting off for this school year, one of the biggest things that we're doing is going over the AI policy. So on there, when you log into Canvas, when you get some time, basically they just want you to go through and accept the AI policy. Basically saying that you're not supposed to use it to basically word for word write what they're doing when it comes to homework and everything else. So there's an AI acknowledgement form. You just have to go ahead and read through that and sign off on that about the AI policy. But for the Google Apps class, of course, we have this laid out into 6 weeks. Of course, each week on here, we have starting off with week one, go over what you will be learning for the week. So, what is Google? An overview of the Google apps, and then the Google partners. So, as you can tell, this is just a quick introduction to what Google's going to be. And then, as we dive into the other weeks, like week two, we're going to go over creating your Gmail account, configuring your different settings in there, and then searching your Gmail. Week three is going to consist of logging into Google Drive. So if you're not familiar with Google Drive, that's where you're actually able to store stuff and your documents. Week four, I believe, is going to be your Google Photos. Yep, so using your Google Calendar and your Google Photos, understanding how those work, buying pictures, sharing your pictures, and everything else. As you could tell here, I do have the previous, the PowerPoint on here and the previous recordings. So if you do happen to miss and we haven't got there, if you want to go ahead, the videos are on there. I just try to record it for each class. That way everyone has their own personal one that they kind of remember what we did. Going through week five is actually utilizing the Google search. I mean, we all kind of know the basic searches, but actually being able to get a little bit better, searching by dates, doing ranges, saying that you want an exact phrase to appear. So being able to fully dive into that Google search engine and using it to the best of the ability to make your life a little bit easier. And then week six is just putting it all together. We're just putting everything that we have learned all together and showing how everything can be utilized at the end of the class. Any questions on that layout? Okay. So
Is
starting back,
that how,
what was that?
I'm sorry, is that how small the print's going to be on Canvas? I still couldn't get in, but like the
No,
way it
I
is
mean, you
now?
could zoom into it if you need to. I mean, I kind of have mine's kind of zoomed out pretty far, just so I could fit everything on there.
Oh,
I'm trying
okay.
to make sure I have you guys on the screen and everything else. So I
Oh,
have
okay.
mine kind of set up a different way. But if
Okay.
you're logged in, of course, you're able to zoom and everything else.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't get into the Canvas and I asked them to send me a new code and I don't know what's going on. It wouldn't send me another code.
It's either going to send it to your email or it's going to text you, depending on which phone number you have on file.
Well, it did send me to the email and I put it in, logging back in, and it says SMS authentication. So is that the code?
Well, no, that's going to be it's going to send you a text message for you to authenticate who you are.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yep.
I got the wrong one. Okay. I didn't know it was a text. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, of course, for our syllabus, sorry about that. I don't know if you guys can hear that. So I think somebody said they had a problem downloading the syllabus. So if you click on it here, this will just open it up. If you click on the thing next to it, that will actually download it for you to your computer. So you should get the downloading and you should get the syllabus here. And then you will be able to open up the full syllabus. So this is what the syllabus would look like here. So basically in Google Apps, in this class, you will learn how to create and set up email addresses with Gmail, set up your auto replies, messages if you are away. We'll also go through the different settings that you're able to use to change from Gmail. Google Drive is a great location to store your documents that you use to share with someone. They are available for you online on your home computer or on your office computer. You can have the files downloaded to your phone and use them when you're on mobile. We will also go through the process of setting up your photos and sharing files with other people and uploading and downloading those to your computer. Usually about a 10.5 hour class, 5 hours of lecture, and 5.5 hours of actually hands-on. I'm more of a hands-on teacher. I like people to be able to do it. So I will show you how I do it, and then we'll spend the rest of the class of you guys actually doing it on your computer and getting that hands-on experience and understanding what you guys are doing. I really like to understand or have people really do the steps so they're able to make sure they understand what we're talking about. So for your objectives, you're going to learn the different apps that Google has to offer, set up your Gmail account, understand the different options, use different features for Gmail, understand Google Docs, and then set up and sync your Google Docs. So with that being said, does anybody have questions on the syllabus?
Where do you find the syllabus at again?
So in Canvas under week 1.
Oh, under week 1. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And then just like all my other classes, I'm not only here for you during the times that we're here to meet. On every one of my syllabuses at the very top, that is my personal cell phone number. I am available for you. I do ask that you do respect the hours. Don't text me at 11 o'clock at night. But I am here to make sure if you're having a problem, if you need help with anything, I try to make myself available for you so you're able to reach out to me. Of course, the other option on there is the school email. I will be honest, I do not check that email regularly. I do try to check it as much as possible, but if you want a quicker response, if you're trying to do something and you need a pretty fast response, sending me a text is always going to be the fastest way that I will get back to you. Other than that, I am on the campus on Mondays and Wednesdays. Monday, I do have a class in 404, and then on Wednesdays, I have a class in 201. So if you wanted to see me in person or if there was something that you just were really struggling with, I am on the campus from 5:30 to 8:30 on those days. Any
I'm sorry,
questions?
which days did you mention?
What was that?
I'm sorry, which days did you mention you're on campus?
Mondays and Wednesday,
Okay. From 5:30 to
8:30.
okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So getting into our PowerPoint for tonight, pretty quick, pretty easy. Like I said, this is just a quick introduction. I want you guys to understand what we're going to be looking at, making sure this is the right class that you want to be in. Let me just make sure nobody else joined. Give me a second. Okay. So lesson 1, getting started with Google Apps. So your objectives: discuss what is Google, overview of Google applications, the Google partners that are out there, and then identify the big 3 Google productivity applications that people utilize. So what is Google? Google originally started off as just a search engine. It grew with the internet. In 2004, Google released Gmail for email. Of course, a lot of people were using their Yahoo, their MSN, and things like that for their email. Over time, people started to transition over to using Gmail, and Gmail became very popular for the email. Gmail gave you, at that time, 1 GB of storage. That was a lot back in the day for getting your emails. Of course, over time, that has grew to now where Gmail gives you 15 GB of free storage. Then in 2005, give me 1 second here. So in 2005, Google released Android for smartphones. So, I'm pretty sure we're all familiar with the Android-based phones. You have your Samsung Galaxies, you have your um, Motorola phones, everything that runs on the Android-based operating systems is owned by Google. 2006, YouTube and Google came together. So, YouTube and Google decided to join forces and, basically became a company. Google is the most used search engine worldwide. Of course, there's still things out there, Bing, Yahoo, MSN, those are still search engines that people utilize, but Google is still the most used search engine worldwide. Most computers or phones that you use, everyone installs the Google Chrome app, and of course, that takes you to the Google search engine. So the Google partners in different applications that they have. Of course, Google Chrome, which they use for your web browser, except most people use Google Chrome for browsing the web. You have your YouTube. Of course, you watch your videos, everything else. I think YouTube is very popular nowadays. Google Drive, once again, that's for sharing documents, storing documents. Once again, that 10 or that 15 gigabytes that Google gives you when you create your email address for free, it actually incorporates the Google Drive where you could store up to 15 gigabytes of documents or 15 gigabytes of photos. So you have those different options. You have Google Maps. Of course, Google Maps is pretty popular for, navigating through. They actually, were in the process of purchasing Waze to give you the real-time alerts with, where the police are and everything else. So you have your Google Maps. Of course, their Gmail, which is for email. Google Translate is another great one. I mean, if you ever get a document or some words that you see online that you don't know what the meaning or the definition is because it's in a different language, you can have Google translate it for you into the language that you speak. So very handy being able to use that translation tool that's built into Google. Of course, Android, the operating system that they run on their mobile phones. And then, of course, the Google Play Store is where you will actually go and download those apps and everything for your Android-based phone. Anybody have any questions on any of those? Okay.
Teacher,
Yes.
all those apps, we're going to see each one?
We're going to touch on the big ones. So Google Chrome, we're going to talk about Google Drive, we're going to talk about Gmail. We might get into a little bit of Google Maps. YouTube, not so much, just because it's a little bit harder to teach YouTube because there's some things that pop up when you search YouTube that is not really school appropriate. So even though you're telling it to safe search, there's just still some videos and things like that that pop up that are inappropriate for schools.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
It's a couple ones like I haven't tried, like a Google Translate and Google Play Store.
So the Google Play Store is mainly if you have an Android phone, is where you would actually use the Google Play Store.
Okay. What about the Android?
And that's
this one?
for the Android phone. So that's if you have that
Okay.
Samsung or Motorola type phone, that's where you would use the Android operating system.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Mhm. So the Google productivity applications. So we're all familiar with Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft, Excel. So Google, I'm pretty sure if you have any kids or kids that are going through the school system nowadays, they're bringing home these Google tablets, these Google Chromebooks that they're actually using Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Sheets, and Gmail. So of course, Google Docs is just like Microsoft Word. Google Slides is just like PowerPoint, and then Google Sheets is just like Excel. Now, of course, they tried to mimic as much as possible from, going from the Microsoft platform over to Google, but of course, everything is not there. These applications are free. So once again, if you do have that, free email address from Google, you're able to access these applications. So very handy, very, easy to use, especially on the go. If you don't want to pay Microsoft their fee, you're able to utilize these ones. So Google Docs, you're able to create text-based documents. Some examples include letters, doing invitations, term papers, flyers, resumes, novels, and anything else that you could think of when it comes to Google Docs. Gmail, you have your automatic email filtering and categorization. You can use Smart Compose and Smart Reply, so that would help you actually reply to an email or compose an email. You can send email nudges and high priority notifications. So maybe someone hasn't responded back to your email. You can send them a nudge. Basically, it's kind of like a reminder, hey, I sent you this email. You have your summary cards that you have above your email showing, if your package is arriving or if you have any travel updates or anything like that. And then you can use the event details to create your calendar entries directly from inside of your Gmail. So just because you're inside of your email, you want to create a calendar notification, you could tell it to add to calendar. Google Slides, you're able to create and deliver presentations. It includes dynamic templates that users can work from. So just like, inside of PowerPoint, you can have a template that you're able to create, a slide from. And then you can print these handouts directly from Google Slides and it'll allow this to work through. So this PowerPoint that I'm actually utilizing was created in Google Slides, but I am showing it to you in PowerPoint. So they're kind of work back and forth.
Excuse me, Troy, is Google Slides like equivalent to PowerPoint?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you.
So Google Sheets, you're able to create spreadsheets to organize your data, formulate graphs and charts, and perform mathematical calculations. So I think there's a couple in here that took my Excel class. You're doing the same exact thing in Microsoft Excel that you're able to do in Google Sheets. Like I said, it has some limitations, but it is free compared to having to pay for Microsoft. And that is the end of that PowerPoint and what we will be actually getting into. Does anybody have any questions on that?
So teacher, let's suppose we have some documents in Google Slides or Docs. Are they gonna be saved there, or can we save them in a folder in our
So you
computer?
could download them also. So, if I go to docs.google.com, now I'm just using here, I'm actually in Firefox. But here, I went to Google Docs. So if you're logged into your Gmail account, and right now I am logged in, you can see my little picture up here. I'm logged into my Google account. Here you will be able to create your document, or it does have the templates up here where you can actually either search for a template, or you could just say, give me a blank document. And this is where you could do your blank document.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, once I create my document, down here on the right, up here on the right, I could go to share. And then I could skip it. I mean, if I wanted to save it, I could. And then from here, I can actually email it to somebody if I wanted to, or I could just copy a link or whatever the case might be. Or if I wanted to go back to and say, know what, I wanted to download this and be able to work on my computer, so I could download it here to maybe a Word document or whatever the case might be. And that way I could save it to my computer compared to saving it inside of Google Docs. So you do have those different options on where you could save your stuff. And the same thing with Sheets and everything else. So, I went to sheets.google.com. Here I could do my blank spreadsheet if I want to, and I'm able to create my spreadsheet. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you, teacher.
You're welcome. Yeah. So that's Google Docs. Of course, we have photos.google. So this will be all your pictures would live. So You could tell my daughter got into an accident yesterday, so I'm dealing with that right now, unfortunately. So that's your photos. And then, like I said, the biggest one is always going to be Gmail.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be where you're able to do all your emailing and everything else once it decides to load.
Excuse me, I have a question. Like you had a bunch of pictures.
Yes.
How do you put your photos in Google?
So there's two different ways you could do that. I mean, we'll get into more of that on our Google class,
Okay.
or sorry, our photos class. But basically, on my phone, I have the Google Photos app. And then I have that automatically sync all the pictures from my phone up to Google Photos. So that way my photos are always backed up off of my phone.
Okay, thank you.
Hmm. Okay. Any other questions? Yes.
Can
I could barely hear you. I'm sorry.
you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Why are you typing in mail.google.com? How come you're not in your actual the six tiny squares up by your name?
So that is another way to get to it.
Oh,
Um, so there is that shortcut menu, and we just haven't talked about that yet. But over here on the right, you do have your shortcut menu, which will take you to all those different ones that I typed in. So I'm a typer. I'm so used to always typing in where I want to go. They do have this lovely shortcut menu where you can go and you could do all these different ones. Of course, going to your Google Drive and just using this little shortcut application. So, yes, you do have that little shortcut menu.
are you going to touch base at all on calendar?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
So we will go over the Google Calendar.
What
So I
was her
guess
question? I didn't hear her.
if we're going to touch base on Google Calendar. Oops,
Okay.
that,
Yeah.
share that. Okay. So that was going to be my next question. If you guys want to put into the chat on things you guys would really like to see covered in this class, so I can make sure I do touch on those items, even if they're not supposed to be. I just want to make sure you guys are getting the most from this class. So if you guys want to put into the chat on what you guys are really looking to get from here, that way we all make sure that we're, staying on the same page. Nobody? You guys are okay with the syllabus and what I have planned for the class?
Do you want us to ask like specific questions?
Well, I'm just saying if there's any like application calendar, anything specific that you guys were hoping to get from the class that, you were hoping that would be covered. Okay.
This is a space for it, but I kind of don't know how to explain it. But in Google Docs, copying, creating a document and then copying it to edit it.
So like creating a template maybe?
Yeah, either or like a template, or sometimes I have teachers send me documents and they want me to work on them, and then they send them back to them,
Okay.
save it, and it's just sometimes there's like a big cluster, and I kind of don't know what the document, where in the stage it is. Does that make sense?
So Trying to think. So they're going to send it to you. You're going to make your changes and then send it back to them, or
They're gonna send it to me and I would make a copy and then I would edit it and then I would send it back to them.
okay.
So those, and kind of where they go, like where I store them. When I pull up my Google Drive and I try to find my docs, I shared a document recently with somebody 2 years ago and she just retired, so she's not there anymore and they cut her email and I can't find the document anymore. But it was mine.
So
I created it and I shared it with her. I owned it and now it's not there anymore. But I don't know if it's because they nixed her email right when she retired.
well, it should still be in yours.
Not there.
So usually the way I would go about doing that,
I mean, it might be there. I just can't find it.
so when you're inside of your Google Docs, usually what I would do for recent documents, I would switch this to owned by me. And then I will try to sort it out, like maybe, last modified or the title. And that way you're able to find the documents that you created that are owned by you.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay. And then I will say they gave us a lot longer than what I had in my previous classes. Usually this class was only for an hour, um, to hour and a half. So I mean, each night you're probably going to get a lot of your time back. But I did tell them I wanted to go 2 hours because sometimes when we had the hands-on, people needed a little bit more time going through those hands-on. So, like I said, for tonight was mainly just a big introduction, making sure we're all on the same page, making sure that you guys understand. Of course, there was really no questions that really came up, so we're kind of way ahead of schedule.
I have a question. Uh, what about the homework or the assignments? We gonna get it done here on the class or is it today?
So, I think you guys mainly had me in most of my classes. Give me a second here. Hold on.